Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar, which will be about planning and scheduling with Powerproject. My name is Khan from Prime PMO. I'm project planning and BIM specialist, and I'm going to present and also demonstrate how to plan, schedule, control our resources, cost within Powerproject. So today's agenda, I'll briefly talk about my company, then I'll introduce Powerproject, and with the demonstration part, we're going to see how to create project or portfolio, how to schedule and plan our projects, how to cost or resource load it, how to have resource or cost loaded schedules, how to update the schedule for comparison between the baseline and also the actual dates. If we have a BIM model, we can import and merge with the schedule, so we can have the timeline simulations as well with Powerproject. So what we do as a Prime PMO project management and consulting, we do have PMO services, consulting and implementation services, and also software-based, company-based or methodology-based trainings within the scope of enterprise project portfolio management, 4D, 5D BIM planning, project analytics, diagnostic, and also we do perform risk analysis, BIM management for the linear projects like roads, pipelines, or any other oil and gas projects. We have time location services, linear planning, life cycle facility data management, and also we have the business intelligence report services. And also we have the market's best solutions for project portfolio management and also BIM schedule analysis, and we can provide to our customers globally for the project portfolio management. We have Powerproject and also Oracle Primavera solutions. For the 4D BIM part, we can have the Powerproject 2. For the 5D BIM, it's only for the tender stages for cost estimation, preparing. You can upload your price list and combine with the BIM model to get the quantities and make the calculation. For the 60 and 70 BIM for sustainability and also facility management, you can use Ecodomus. We have Deltek product acumen for project analytics. We can upload many schedules from P6, Microsoft Project or Powerproject to analyze the problems that can be on the schedule, and also Deltek acumen provides us wide the scope of risk analysis to mitigate the uncertainties, mitigate the negative effects that are affecting our schedule. And also we have the Primavera schedule reader, which is only for viewing the project documents. So today's topic will be about Powerproject. So what is Powerproject? Actually, it is not a new software. It has been on market over 30 years. Maybe some of you heard Powerproject as Asta Powerproject. And the Elecosoft is a UK-based company who developed the product. And also Powerproject was awarded Best Project Management and Planning Product for the last 6 years. And generally it is used in the UK and Europe region. And also it is available in 10 languages, but every time we do encourage our clients to use in English, because the language can be time-consuming phase. So you can see the projects, sample projects that are being used. Powerproject has been used, and you can understand from here that in any type of project, it can be a space shuttle, it can be infrastructure project or high-rise building. Powerproject can serve the best practices in a really worldwide scope. And also you can see some of the customers that are chosen and they are using Powerproject from worldwide known contractors, consulting firms. Of course, these are not the all customer portfolio. So what is Powerproject? It is actually a core scheduling tool where you can develop your schedules, resource management, cost management, and also it has more flexibilities for analyzing maybe like delay analysis. And rather than the scheduling part, you can have also the reporting types like earned value analysis, S-curves. You can use risk management in Powerproject too, and with the line of balance, we can display the activities in a location-based system. For the BI reports, Powerproject has direct integration with the BI reports, so you can upload the data directly into BI systems, and you do not have to update the data manually because there is an integration. Then we can interchange these data with the BI systems. So for the site progress mobile, site engineers or site crew can update the schedule with the mobile application. It doesn't allow users to access all the schedules, so you can identify which data they will going to display, and they will be able to update only the related activities that you can send them, and then directly you can get the progress percentages, actual dates, forecast dates, and they can add pictures, add notes, and you can directly import these data to update the schedule automatically. You'll be able to see the progress information will be updated automatically once you import these data. So it also has a free project viewer where you can send the project information, even though if you have the BIM model, so everyone can see it with the project viewer. So the sending party doesn't have right to change any data, so only they can display the information with the project viewer. And also Powerproject has the 4D BIM part. So if we have the BIM model, 3D design of the model, we can combine with the schedule to optimize it, and also we can have the timeline schedules to with the baseline schedule. You can have comparison simulations too for progress control. So let's go much deeper on Powerproject. We have portfolio management. We can always filter out all the information in a high manner, so we can see the finish dates, finish variances, and all these display can be used as a program management. For the resource management, Powerproject allows us to allocate our resources into our schedule where we can determine how many hours or how many weeks the resources will work with our schedule. So it can be a crew, it can be crane-like equipment, it can be consumable resources like materials. And then with the supportive histograms, we can see the distribution of the resources, and it automatically detects the over allocation if we have not sufficient resource assignments. So then we can directly optimize and control them. For the cost and income management, Powerproject allows us to categorize our costs, so it can be labor, material, or even revenues. Directly we can input positive data into our schedule. So SP6 users, imagine that they input the expenses and also the incomes like minus expenses, and you can see and import all the information in Powerproject too. So you can then follow the project cost, income, and also the net cash flow within the time periods. You can see the monthly data that we can display and control with the cash flows too. For the earned value analysis, it can be based on duration, cost, resource, and overall percentage weighting. So Powerproject has an earned value reporter which automatically analyzes your schedule according to the baseline that you can input, and generates an Excel report directly from your schedule. So risk analysis can be performed, so you can determine the uncertainties, the effects of the factors that are affecting on our schedules. So it can be based on duration, it can be based on cost or margin likelihoods. You can display the critical activities with the tornado chart, and also we can see all the iterations on a list format. For the report generation, Powerproject allows a rich type of report, so we can customize all the view, we can shade the critical date, time zones, we can highlight the activities which are related. Also, it can be work breakdown structures. If we have a 3D BIM model, we can put and also display the actual situation with the BIM model. If it is a progress period, it can be a monthly report. So then we can import the schedule to show the actual situation. So these reports can be exported into Excel, it can be exported to PDF or direct printouts. For the business intelligence reports, you can see the sample report. So we can have multiple projects on the Gantt chart with the start, finish dates, and also the durations. You can see the data date on the report. We can have and bring almost every data which exist on your schedules. It can be percentages, complete percentages. It can be project types and status, or we can add resource or monthly cost data to this report for top management review or any tracking. So also with the map view, the parties can see where the projects are located as a program manager or multiple projects portfolio manager. So Powerproject is working integrated with the other systems, mostly in P6 and Microsoft Project and Tilus. You can directly import your schedules, your projects, and if you can directly export it any other format. For the ERP systems, finance systems like SAP, it can be any other accounting system, so we can have the integration because it's an open API based system. So with the macros or any add-ins, plugins, we can have the integration with any other system. So we have the 4D BIM part. If we have the schedule from P6 Microsoft Project, or we can create from scratch a schedule, and then we can combine with the 3D BIM model to have the timeline simulations. So 3D design should come ready on Powerproject with IFC file format. So generally the Revit can be used, Bentley systems, Tekla can be used for IFC exports. So once we have the design, we can and we are able to import it on Powerproject. So with the 4D BIM, it can be a residential project. You can see on the table format, we have the activities. On the Gantt chart, we have the activity, and with the relationships, you can see the structuring too. And also we have the BIM model. It can be a commercial building, it can be a hotel project. So you see that from P6, we can have the schedule and combine it with the BIM model. It can be a transportation project, it can be a bridge, a road project, viaduct, and also an industrial project. So this is the main limitation, is if we have the design in IFC file format, we can apply it into another project type. All right, so once we open Powerproject, of course, it doesn't come like this. It is a sample project, which we have is a spreadsheet. We can have the activities, names, duration you see, and start and finish days, where we can add almost every information on our spreadsheet, and also we can write formulas to display like the percentages, like resources, efforts for specific time frames. And also we can have, like, let's go to the logic, we can add successor, we can add predecessor, and all these we can add all these information into our spreadsheet. So with this spreadsheet is much likely working as Excel. We can directly right-click, copy, or paste from Excel. So all the information will be able to import it and export it with Control-C, Control-V. And also we have a Gantt chart where we can close or open, which is directly working integrated with the spreadsheet. So this activity, once I select, I can select all the line like Excel. the spreadsheet activity information is selected, and also the Gantt chart activity is able to select it. So this is a sample project, and also with the, you can see the links, and this will be our Gantt chart for our use. And also from the left hand side, we can open the project view where we can navigate our resources. For instance, you can see permanent resources, consumable resources, which are directly coming from the templates. Powerproject has a construction specific template and ready resources that are dedicated for construction. And also you see that substructures, superstructure, these are the code libraries, is the same activity codes in Primavera P6. You can see design discipline, floor level, which are already created for our use, or we can right click and create our own code libraries too. So these are all customizable. And we have the calendars, we can control progress periods. So the progress update is a bit different than the Primavera P6. We need to first identify the data dates to be updated, then we need to update the schedule and reschedule the program according to that data date. And we have the task pools where we can, if everything is ready, all the linking types, activity codes, everything, we can copy all the information as a task pool, and then we can multiplicate in any other purposes. So let's go to a bit down, and how we can create activities is we can directly draw in on the Gantt chart. So it's a 10-day activity where I can determine its finish date. You see that only the finish date is changing from the end of the activity. From the start of the activity, I can determine the start date, and also you see that the duration is always changing according to my adjustment. I can name this activity as project start, and I can turn this one into a milestone by determining its duration is to 0. Then I can continue drawing, and I can say that this will be my excavation activity, which will be 20 working days. So this calendar day will be different than the working days. Duration input is always in working calendar. And I can draw multiple activities saying that this is footing, this is foundation, slab, columns, and walls, and also level slab. I can rename everything, so you see that I can, of course, manipulate the view, so how these activity names will be displayed on the Gantt chart. But let's continue with the linking part, how we can link our activities into a logical diagram. So let's say this is project finish, another milestone. I can draw start to finish. Let's have start with leg, footing finishes, foundation starts, column, walls, and also the slab. So then we can finish this project. I can quickly draw the relationships, and I will be able to you see that the logical histogram can be displayed after the rescheduling. So we have rescheduling options, but before that, let's select all these activities and put in hierarchy. So this will be our macro phase 1, let's say. Okay, so this can be our work breakdown structure where we can create after creation of the activities. We don't have to determine first the work breakdown structures. We can directly create it after creating our activities. And then I can select singular activity. Let's say I just selected these 2 activities. So for Powerproject is much simpler and flexible on what if analysis. So then I can reschedule only these 2 activities according to the project start date, and the other activities will not be affected on this rescheduling part. And also I can every time undo my every step. So from the initial stage, you see create bar, which is the first activity that I created, and all the other steps can be undone. Let's only reschedule this selection, and we can then can have a critical path which is displayed with the red one. So it seems that every activity is critical according to our schedule. So this, if we focus on this start to start relationship, we can double click to open its properties, and you see that on the link start, it has a time lag which is 10 working days according to my assignment. You see that 20 working day, and it is almost 50%, so the footing can start. This can be a time-based lag type, or we can determine like 45% according to the completion of this project. Once the excavation completes 45%, which can be, the calculation can be based on duration, physical, or unit assignments. So this time it is not going to be dependent on time. So once the excavation activity increases, you're going to see that this proportion is going to be maintained according to finish 45% of the excavation, and then footing is going to start. Of course, we have finish to finish 2, so that's why we cannot see. Okay, so this time you see that 45% is finished, then footing can start. We can put these type of lag types too in our project. Let's create a float here. Click OK. Okay, so this can be our project. We can assign codes, activity codes, any resource on it, and then just we can do is right click, copy to task pool. So this is going to be our macro phase 1. If we are repeating the activity creation or any other work breakdown structure, or it can be a housing project, like you have thousands of villas, the same projects that you execute on the construction site. So you can drag and drop, all the information will be with you, and then you can have the linking. Like we can say, okay, 30 day passes, so this second phase can start. We can say every information and quickly create our projects according to this. So we can change this one to, let's say, phase 2. Okay, so this activity creation and also with the linking serves much flexibility and speed on our planning phases. Let's move on to code assignments. So almost everything from the project view can be assigned by drag and drop. So let's say these are my trade contractors, and I would like to filter and use these code assignments according to trade contractors. I can just, by drag and drop, I can assign any other code, and it will be more visible to identify which code that I'm assigning. And you're going to see I'm always able to select from the drop-down list. So then we'll be able to see these assignments too. Once we finish the code assignment, we can directly double click to a code, activity code, and automatically the filter will be applied. So you're going to see, okay, so plumbers are working here, concrete work is here. So it can be based on any other category that we can create in Powerproject. How we can create a information is we can click the Library Explorer, which is also available in the View Library Explorer. So this Library Explorer is basically much similar to program files in a Windows-based system. Every information you can input here, then display it on the project view, then you can use it on your schedule. So it can be a calendar. We can go to the calendar, right click and create a new calendar for our project. It can be, of course, a resource calendar too, so you can assign specific based calendars. Cost centers for categorizing the costs. You can see I can determine this categorization. For the project report, so we can determine the data dates. It can be monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, how you would like to update your schedule. And then we can select the specific data date, then reschedule the project according to it. It can be an exception, it can be a formula that we would like to write for our spreadsheet for our own use. It can be a currency unit, so multiple currencies can be worked within the same project, so by inputting exchange rates. Or if you're not displaying everything, so you see show libraries, we can add any other resource curve we can create for our own use. Time unit, work unit, I can add the calendars on my view, so then I can create an information to use it then. So let's move on to program. Okay, so these tabs are actually the different displays of the same project. It can be like the layouts of P6, so you can have much different layouts on a singular project, and you can navigate between those layouts. So after the not the resource, activity code assignment, you can filter out these codes. So let's move on to resource management, how we can use the resources in our schedule. You see that from template, we are able to see and display the permanent resources. It can be equipment, it can be crews, it can be trades or consumable resources like bricks. I need to go to view library explorer, and then I need to select the permanent resource. Then I can create a resource folder for my organization. Then I can say that, okay, steel fitter, formwork crew, and also concrete crew. I can create these resources and I can change the display of the colors. You see that, and it asks us to determine the availability. So these are not the units in P6. These are the number of men we are able to provide in a maximum number. So let's have 20 number of 20 number of men for steel. Let's have 20 for formwork, and let's have 5 for the concrete. Of course, we can double click and assign a cost for all these resources. So I'm just assigning, all right, standard cost rate. Then you see that 25 pounds per hour, it is going to cost for one person. If I have 20, so it's going to be the multiplication. All right, so this time we'll be able to see our prime PMO crews, and then I need to go to format and open resource allocations, and we can display the resources as a bar on the Gantt chart. So you see that I can delete these assignments or assign by drag and drop. So let's say for the foundation work, we're going to have the formwork crew, steel fitter, and also the concrete. We're going to have all these three crews. We can determine their number of allocation, or we can determine their man hours in total, and or we are able to model this resource to make any other calculation. So if we know the effort, which is man hour, total man hour, you see that the allocation number. And if we say, okay, so let's calculate the effort. Let's have 20 men in this activity working as a steel fitter. So it's in total is going to be calculated as 3,680 man hours in total. And we can use the duration calculation if you would like to, or allocation calculation according to this duration and effort and allocation parameter. We can have all these calculations. Work on allocation, we can directly input the quantity required to complete this activity and then make those calculations again. Again, we can have the duration calculations if we know the production rates. You see work rate can be input hourly, daily, and you see that if I'm doing daily 1 meter cube or 1 ton, let's say, for the steel fitter, and if this is the required, let's have 20 ton, and I'm able to do 1 ton per day, it's going to take 1 day for 20 men. If I have 1 man, so automatically you're going to have 20 days. Let's move on to effort on allocation, and we can determine their working hour or working durations. So separately from the activity, where we can say that, okay, so formworks start this activity, they work 18 days, and then 2 days behind or 1 day behind, the fitters are following, and once they are done, the concrete crew will pour this concrete in, not in 4 days, of course, let's say in 2 days max. So we can determine by not changing the total duration of the foundation activity. Of course, this can be a more detailed level 4 schedule 2. And also let's open the histograms and we can see the distribution of it. Let's have the formwork crew and unclick the electricians. Let's have the steel workers here. We can select this one and you see that, okay, we allocated only 1 man and we are calculating these calculations according to 1 man. What we need to do is we need to go to the modeling, we need to increase to 20 and you're going to see that, okay, so 20 men are assigned and in maximum availability was 20 men. We are able to display this in units too, man hours, of course, it is available. So if we move to cost estimation, we can directly, maybe we are on the controller or we are not dealing with the specific resource-based cost assignments, then we can directly input as an expense, like the foundation, not like the foundation, but the excavation work. Directly we can allocate this subcontractor cost information to our excavation work, which will be not the cost resource, but let's open the cost assignments. You're going to see again as a bar under the excavation, which is going to cost in total 1,000 pounds. Let's say it's going to be 50, and automatically the graphs will be updated accordingly. And then we will be able to schedule this cost information. If you open this cost, you're going to see in the nonlinear tab, every day I'm paying 300 and some cents pounds in for this subcontractor, which is true within the scope of earned value, which if they complete within the budgeted units, of course 50%, they're going to earn 25,000 pounds, which is true within the scope of earned value. But what if the payment schedule? So it is not true that I'm always paying every day this type of amount. So it can be, let's split in half and let's have a prepayment at the beginning of the project or beginning of this activity. They receive the half and the other half may be related to task finish. After whenever they finish this activity, you're going to see that this payment will be moved according to our estimation. Once this activity is finished, after 30 days, I will be able to pay this amount for this activity, excavation activity, and it's not going to depend on duration. So it's going to be, of course, it's going to be dependent, but the date of this allocation is going to be dependent on the activity. So we see that it can be fixed. So it is fixed 25,000 because we split this cost into two in half. It can be based on time, which is not true for the excavation, but it can be based on task work. We can input, let's say the task work is 10,000 meter cube, or yeah, it can be 10,000 meter cube. So let's have this type of quantity, and then we can go to this allocation, task work based automatically. You see that 10,000 meter cube is taken into account, and per meter cube I'm going to pay 125 pounds. Automatic calculation will be done, and you see that 1.2 million pounds is going to be the total cost of this activity. So according to the quantity, we can make this calculation too and turn our schedule into payment schedule, that we are making sure at what days we are paying and not suffering negative cash flows. Okay, we can do this. Let's move on to progress update, which can be updated based on the duration, physical, or unit based. So first we need to determine the data date, which is progress periods, project report date. It can be weekly, it can be monthly. If I select the weekly one, I need to first determine it is the project progress entry period. So it is at the end of the week one, we will be able to update the schedule, and also the software automatically calculates the percent complete where we should be according to our program. If we go to the project baseline manager, you see that many baselines can be added to this schedule. So let's baseline sample and create our own baseline to unlimited number of baselines that you can add on the schedule, but only up to 10 you can display on the Gantt chart. So this is our baseline where we can go to the, okay, so no, I'm not going to display this one. We're displaying baseline sample, and which is same as our original schedule. Then we can say, okay, so at overall percent complete, of course, so design is started, which is a milestone. It is started, and also it is 100% completed. Then we can say that, all right, 20% that we are able to complete for this tender work. So you can, if you move and zoom in a little bit, you're going to see the shading according to our percentage, and with the color of the progress period line color. So if you open, you see that week one color is blue. So then I'm able to display this shading in blue. And also the progress line where should be on at the end of the week one, it is the blue, and we can determine and also distinguish what are we done, what are the works performed in our progress period. So let's say, okay, so this will be our progress, and we can move to second week, and this time tender asks to complete 90% or not. Let's say it is 70%. So you see that the 70, according to 70% with the color of the week two, we're going to display this type of completion. And also it says, okay, so this work should be completed too. And once we input 70% for the standard, you're going to see that percentage for week 1, percentage for week 2, which can be calculated differently, and we'll only see the percent complete in a cumulative format. We can right click, table definition, and you're going to see that these 3 columns, which are percent complete for the week 1, for the week 3, are only the same field. We can add the same field and change the display information. Like we can select progress period only for week 1, and then we'll be able to display only for that selected period. All right, so this will be the end of the planning part, and also the controlling part, and also we can have the BIM models. So I would like to mention that one too. Let's move to this one. No, not this one. Let's move to this one. All right, so this will be the ready project that we can import from Primavera P6, like file, import, export. You see that XCR file, XML file, it can be exported or imported or directly from Microsoft Project. Where we can input data from Excel is again from file, import, export, or we can directly copy and paste the spreadsheet. Then we'll be able to have our schedule on Powerproject too. And we can have the floats, we can have many columns on our project, so we can prepare for our use. And then we can go to the file, BIM, and you see that we are able to import IFC file format design models. We can go to the BIM, IFC model pane, and this will be our sample project for our this demonstration. And we can use, if we are using multiple screens, we can move this to another screen, so then easily we can control our schedule, and also with the BIM model too. Let's put this here, so we can put anywhere we want, left hand side here, right hand side here, or we can put here. So this is an horizontal project, that's why I want to display it like this one. And once the linkings are being made with the related activities, we're going to play the simulation, and we will be able to track the construction logic in a time frame. We can stop here a little bit, and we're going to see how the projects will be constructed according to our schedule. So from right hand side we started the viaduct, from left hand side we started the bridge, and from some point they are going to be merged. And this 4D BIM scheduling allows us to determine all the details and how to construct the project, and also the information is not based on imagination. So you have direct display on how the construction will be, and this is really crucial information for understanding the scope, understanding the workflow between many trades. It can be a complex project where many parties are involved, and this is a good representation of the project information. We can also have the format baseline. You're going to see this baseline, and once the progress are entered, we can have the difference between the actuals and the baseline. So you see that we can also have the difference on the Gantt chart, which are mostly used in any other platform too. But in Powerproject, we can open the category. Sorry for that. We can open the comparison model. And let's put under our original model. So you see that this pane is IFC model, and the other is our comparison model. So this comparison model can use the baseline dates and highlight the live project differences. So this time let's move on again. And you see on the Gantt chart, we have a drop line, which are showing the activities. You see one by one, it is constructed. And once we stop and focus on the bridge part, let's say, you're going to see the difference highlighted in red. So this is just really in an easy way distinguishing the delay of this activity. So once I click this one, automatically the software moves to this activity, HBM number 10. So, and it is on this date, we'll be able to demonstrate that this delay is going to be done according to our live schedule and with the baseline schedule. So if we can continue, you see that, okay, so let's stop on 13th of April. We are again a bit delayed on these deck activities on this arch. So let's click on arch. I have a delay on West Arch S2, which is this activity. I can click on this one, which doesn't exist in the actual situation, but it should be on according to our baseline. So I can click this components, and then it directly goes to the deck structure. This activity is delayed on this time frame. We have this direct distinguishing and direct identification of the what are being delayed or not with the 4D scheduling tool. All right, so this will be all for today's webinar. Please contact me, contact us about any requirement, any issues that you can come up with. You can contact us from our LinkedIn page, from our website, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Have a nice day.